Welcome back to the Formula E Monoposto Championship. Tommy starts on pole in round 11 from Revo and Oscar Folstad. Then the Red Devil starts 4th from Marcus Nelson in 5th. Remy LeBeau up in 6th. Alongside him is Tonali Gabo and teammate Zach Wallace. Sebastian Ocampo down in 9th from Pablo Sierra and Babinas Jr. Then it's Das Sanchez starting 12th from Daniel Bogdasarov and Santino Milan. Then it's Bastian Tan 15th. Anot Kiri starting 16th with Mohamed Nawawi and Zay Lane starting 17th and 18th. Then it's Akari Lopez, UK Ball at the site of his first race win, Pierre Gasly and Leo. Alright then, it's been a while, but we're finally back with more championship racing with the Venturi number 45 on pole. The Formula E Monoposto Championship gets back underway in Brazil. Very good start from both front row men, but I think Revo might actually have an advantage as they come through the first 3 turns. And yes, that is Revo up into the race lead ahead of Tommy and the Red Devil. Marcus Nelson fighting with fellow Scandinavian driver Oscar Folstad. The Red Devil takes the lead of the Sao Paulo Prix. And look at that, Tommy fighting with Revo over second position. They're going to go side by side up into turn number 5, but Tommy and Revo still holding on to the podium positions, and with Marcus Nelson right behind them, there he goes to number 13, trying to go around the outside of Akari Lopez with a 5-second time penalty, squabbling around the back, but out in front, the Red Devil leads the way, and we've got a full course yellow. Pablo Sierra is out, and look at that, that is Aaron Babinas Jr. He looks to have collided with the Renault driver, and we're now under virtual safety car on lap 1 of 17. And as his teammates tried to win and did succeed in winning in Buenos Aires, now it's the Red Devils' turn. The number 99 for Kiro Renault leading the pack here in Brazil. And there's a massive gap between the top 10 and the bottom, well, 11 now, because Santino Milan in 11th position, 2 seconds off the back of the 2 Andretti drivers in front of him. Sims Motorsport seem to be doing a lot better now after confirmation that they will be partnered with Porsche for season 22 onwards, but for season 21 they have decided to drop Nissan and will be using DS powertrains. Braun Honda further back down, they will be using Renault powertrains for next season when they become Power Motorsport. And for season 21, heck, not even season 21, starting with the final race of the season in Lagos, we will no longer be called the Formula E Monoposto Championship. We have decided to change our name to the ERL Formula E Series, inspired by IndyCar. But here comes Marcus Nelson. He took some time out to go to IndyCar. He's going to get attack mode. A little bit like push to pass. The Red Devil, now Marcus Nelson with the first slap. Remy LeBeau with the first slap. There goes the Season 9 champion down the inside on Tommy. And up into 3rd position onto the podium for the Dane. And look at that. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Everyone seemingly with attack mode. Nelson using it to defend. Remy LeBeau further back using it to offend. And there he goes down the inside on Oscar Folstad. Can he take 5th position away from the defending champion? Not quite able to yet. And I think I've got to preface this right now. The stuff that Kiro Renault are doing right now is amazing, and you have to remember, both of their drivers are rookies. Look at Sims Motorsport. They have only once in their 3-season-long existence had a driver lineup of complete rookies, and they still haven't even won yet. There goes Ocampo past Tonali Gabo, the most experienced driver to race with them. As look at that, Marcus Nelson, sub 1 minute lap time. You're going to see a lot of those today. And look at that, he's right on the back of his teammate. Is he going for his first race win of the season, as Revo did earlier on? And look at that, past the Kiro Renault, and no! Folstad hitting the back of Remy LeBeau, his teammate in the Red Devil. And it was brilliant for the 99. It was a fairy tale story, but he's got a front puncture. And the fluorescent yellow Kiro Renault, the drivers charge to a potential first race win, ends in tragedy as he is out. That was a massive shot from Mohamed Nawawi as well. Saw the ground, but is still in this race somehow. It's a virtual safety car, and the Red Devil goes from full celebrations to nothing but commiserations. But for DS Techeetah, it's a 1-2 with their man Revo. Following him is Marcus Nelson, as in comes Ocampo, Bogdasarov, and Babinas Jr. And I don't think they've got too much damage. UK Ball also into the pits, and touching on UK Ball, I think right now what they're doing at Brawn is just making sure everything's in order for when they become Power Motorsport next season. But of course, this is where he won his first race driving for Next EV Neo back in Season 1. He's one of only a few drivers, I think, who took their first wins prior to Rodney Solo's first World Drivers' Championship back in Season 5, with a lot of the other drivers here probably not even racing in Season 5. But here's someone who has raced in Season 5, and in fact the top two both raced in Season 5. Of course, this is their first season as teammates, but of course, as well as that, both champions. Revo now coming across the line to start lap 6 of 17. Sebastian Ocampo further back with a faster second sector. He dropped down to 15th after coming out of the pits, but look at this from Akari Lopez. Tried to make a move on Mohamed Nawali, who has decided to come into the pits for Mercedes EQ. As here comes Marcus Nelson, fighting with his teammate. Gets covered off by his teammate, and in fact, a much better corner exit for Revo means that he's basically pulled an entire second on his Danish teammate in Marcus Nelson, on board with the number 13. And yeah, those soft tires do not look as if they're going to give him the performance that he wishes to have right now. He's with Revo still, within that attack mode range. Pierre Gasly further back, fighting with Daniel Bogdasarov, maybe, or maybe not. No, he was fighting with Ocampo and got past quite quickly, and it seems like he's going to do the same on his compatriot. There goes Sebastian Ocampo up into 12th position. Many other drivers coming into the pits, and it's just weird to see Akari Lopez after season 15. Like, that was his runaway season. He won the championship, won the postseason, and after that, it just hasn't looked as if he could mount anything close to that sort of title challenge ever again. Of course, we'd love to see that happen, but I'm not too sure if we'll actually get to see that happen, and that's a bit sad if you ask me, because, you know, competition is at the forefront of this championship. As we're seeing a little bit of a competition between the two teammates down at DS Techeetah. I'd expect for them to pit Nelson first and then pit Revo on lap 8. This could be a two-stopper. As no! Oh, they're pitting Revo first. Okay. They're going against the grain here. So Marcus Nelson takes the lead. DS Techeetah, they had to wait a little bit for Falstad to go by. That could hamper Revo's race. Of course, he should be racing this man Tommy on pit lane exits. Possibly even Sebastian Ocampo. Ocampo goes through, Sanchez has gone through. This is very interesting. But Tommy has come out of the pits behind the DS Techeetah driver, and in fact is still behind Remy Lebeau, the Frenchman, the French rookie, who took his first race win in Buenos Aires. And the rookie talent that we've been seeing in this championship since season 12 has been amazing, if you ask me. Because, of course, you've got the two pinnacle drivers who debuted in season 12. You've got the main guy at Renault currently, Daniel Bogdasarov, in 4th position. He debuted in season 12 driving for Andretti, and then season 13 saw the arrival of Sebastian Ocampo, who'd have a debut season the likes of which we'll only see again in season 17, as Nelson and I believe, yes, Da Sanchez both into the pit. Sebastian Ocampo takes the lead from Daniel Bogdasarov and Revo, who set the fastest third sector on that last lap. He is chasing down Bogdasarov and Ocampo. Of course, he's got soft tires, but one thing he doesn't have on this straight is attack mode. Unlike Babinis Jr. right behind him, but he's not trying to close in. I'm not too sure if that's because his father, Babinis Sr., he was Revo's teammate in his first title-winning season. So that might just be a little bit of a generational favor, or something like that. But with 8 laps to go, Revo all over the back of the Renault driver in front of him. We've got 2 different powertrains in the top 8, with the only different one that you'll see further down is Innocui's Nissan, as here comes Revo, coming through the final turn. Doesn't need the attack mode to get past Bogdasarov, but uses it anyway to steal the fastest lap. Volstad rips it out of his hand with a 57.783 in 5th position, and with that 5-second time penalty as well. That's going to be interesting to see, because remember, Volstad leading this championship by 26 points. That is pretty much a race win, but there are some darkening skies over this part of Brazil, and intermediates going on to Mohamed Awawi's car. Intermediates going on to a lot of drivers' cars here. Look at that. We might have rain with 7 laps to the checkered flag. But with Ocampo leading the way, it still looks quite dry. I think it's just the team's radar saying, you know what, we might just have to do something different here. And yes, rain now falling over Brazil, and it seems to be quite heavy. I'm not too sure if Inters is right, but look at this. Revo still trying to make the move on Ocampo, and I think he's just realized he doesn't have quite enough grip to go for it. As in come the drivers. Alright, so I think they might have to hold Revo for a bit here. A little bit of time lost in the pits for the Italian driver, and Ocampo doesn't lose that much. Volstad only now coming into the pits, so Ocampo does resume the race lead. Revo still in 2nd. Volstad comes out of the pits in 3rd. Remy Lebeau is 4th with Tommy in 5th. That is your top 10. So Daniel Bogdasarov lost tons of times in the pits, as UK Ball just keeping an eye on our champions as always. He's going to come out of the pits around about 14th. So once again, not the greatest showing for the Braun Honda driver. And 2 seconds is the gap between Ocampo and Revo. 5 seconds back from Volstad. That would drop him down to 6th position. So that's not good for his title hopes. He would be leaking points from every angle to both Revo and Ocampo. But as they now rise through the final few turns here in Sao Paulo, Brazil, Sebastian Ocampo will now start 5 laps to go. 5 laps to the checkered flag here in Brazil. He leads from Revo and Volstad, as we now watch him go down through the hills. That makes up the first 3 turns in the drive. This will be an attack mode zone, and it's an attack mode zone where we've seen so much action throughout this race. The first few laps of this race have been amazing. Hopefully we can finish just as strong, but you can see on the map the field is getting a little bit more strung out, like string cheese, if I may. But I think Pierre Gasly, watching Akari and Awawi fight over 17th, there is still some fights to be won here. It's experience versus a championship, and Akari up into 17th position. He can still fight quite well. I'm just not too sure if it's the machinery or if it's him. Because hopefully we can see with season 21, or heck, even the postseason, if he can make it in by the fan vote, because I don't think he's top 10 in points. If he can make it in through the fan vote, hopefully we can see a reinvigorated Akari Lopez. 4 laps to go. Revo isn't gaining any time on the Philippine number 76 right in front of him. No one driving car number 1 this season, but Ocampo is the reigning World Drivers' Champion. His teammate down in 9th position compared to Revo, whose teammate Marcus Nelson in 7th. They pretty much double stacked down at DS Automobiles. That's what I'm pretty sure they're gonna say, but I'm 100% sure that Nelson did not double stack. He was too far back. He had just come into the pits the lap before the rain started falling. But it's always exciting to watch a race in Brazil. And does Leo have problems? No, but just didn't look quite right with the number 30 car. He's currently down in 20th and last position. 3 laps to go. Top 4 have stayed relatively the same. As it would stand, Remy LeBeau would go onto the podium once again. Kiro Renault having one of the best debut seasons I ever did see for not just their drivers, but for the teams. Of course, Falstad and Ocampo, they were challenging for the title in their debut seasons, but Kiro, they weren't expected to do anything of the sort, as Mohamed Nawawi getting a 5-second time penalty for colliding with the back of Akari Lopez. Or either that, or no, it was with Lopez, as Nawawi dropping to 19th position did not opt to use the attack charge rather, which works as a bit of a push to pass system. But now, 2 laps to go. The rain's still falling quite hard here in Brazil. That's Tommy. He's a second off the back of Remy LeBeau. He could try and strip him of a podium. Of course, the Hong Kong man, he started this race from pole position. But as it would stand, all he would get out of that pole position is a lowly 4th position, which is not bad. 4th is not bad for the Venturi team, especially considering how they were doing last season. 4th is good for them, but I know for a fact Tommy would be thinking it could have been so much more. Just like Rabo, who, if he got past before they enter the pits, I'm not certain on this, but I'm pretty sure he would be a lot closer to the back of Sebastian Ocampo than he is right now. He's 2.08 seconds off the back of Ocampo, as they now raise the hill to begin the penultimate lap here in Sao Paulo. Sebastian Ocampo leading from Rabo and Oscar Falstad. Falstad with the fastest lap, but still with that 5-second time penalty. Then you've got Remy LeBeau following him in very close pursuit is Tommy in 5th. Then you've got Bogdasarov, Marcus Nelson, Bastian Tan, Daph Sanchez, and Ionet Babinas Jr., the top 10. And looking at this fight for 4th, it does look to be a little bit brighter. I don't think the rain will stop falling before the race ends. But if the rain does stop falling before the race ends, there's only going to be one driver who will be able to pit for it, and that is Leo, who's running up the hill. Because the pit lane, if you're on the lead lap right now, is officially closed. And no, Leo does stay out. Pit lane is closed. Unless you have to make repairs. So, see now around the final few turns. Here we go then, it's the final lap. Here in Sao Paulo, started by Sebastian Ocampo, who leads the field. As it has been since the rain started falling, but look at that further back. Tommy could be on for a move. This is for the podium. As long as they can keep within 5 seconds of Falstad in front. Tommy coming through the first 3 turns didn't look as if he could have gone past, but he's using all of his attack charge that he can as they now come through Decina de Lagos. Turn number 4, rising up the hill. And I think Tommy might have a chance here. This is going to be super close. He's looking to the outside line. As Sebastian Ocampo now coming into the the penultimate turn before the long, high hill. And has Tommy been able to do it? He's still right with him. But rounding up the hill then, it's Sebastian Ocampo, who will come home for his team DS Andretti. The reigning World Drivers' Champions will win in Brazil from Revo and Oscar Falstad, as long as that gap can stay as is. But no, Tommy could not get past Remy LeBeau, who will step onto the podium once again this season. It's an amazing rookie season that the Kiro Renault man is having. Daniel Bogdasarov in 6th, but you have to keep an eye on that gap. So Falstad would drop down to 6th position despite the fastest lap points. As we now look to the drivers further back down the order, Akari Lopez, Pierre Gasly, Mohamed Nawawi, and now Leo, who rises up the hill. And yeah, if we had 3 more laps in this race, I have no doubts about this, we would have seen another weather change. And this is the podium then, and as you can see, the rain has stopped. Sebastian Ocampo takes home another race win in his illustrious career from Revo and Remy Lebeau, whose career may have just started, but he's driving like a veteran. Then you've got Tommy in 4th, Daniel Baltasar 5th, Oscar Folstad followed by Marcus Nelson and Vasti in town in the top 8. Then you've got Dash Sanchez and Pablo Cunha, the rest of your point scorers. Then, outside of the points, you've got Tonali Gabo, Anot Cui, Zay Lane, Zach Wallace, Luke Cable, Santino Milan, Pierre Gasly, Akari Lopez, Mohamed Nawawi, and Leo, who was almost a lap down, with your non-finishers being the Red Devil, who could have easily won this race today had it not been for an untimely puncture, and Pablo Sierra, who retired on the opening lap. In the driver's standings, Folstad still leading the field from Revo and Daniel Bogdasarov. 3 points away from Bogdasarov is Sebastian Ocampo. Then you've got Marcus Nelson and Tommy, your top 6, with Remy Lebeau almost certainly taking the Rookie of the Year award before the season's even done. Then you've got Daf Sanchez, Pablo Sierra, Fabinus Jr., Bastian Tan, the Red Devil tied with an OQ. Then you've got not Santino Milan, he's in 16th. Tonali Gabo is in 14th, followed by Cable and the aforementioned Santino Milan. Then you've got Leo, Mohamed Nawawi, Zay Lane, Akari Lopez, Pierre Gasly, and still yet to take his first points of his career, Zach Wallace. In the constructors' standings, heading into the next round, DS Cheetah lead the way by 20 points ahead of DS Andretti. Then you've got the Drivers' Championship leaders in DS McLaren TGR, 1 point back from Andretti. A further 6 points back you'll find Renault Edams. Then you've got DS Venturi Formula E team in 5th, Kiro Renault in 6th, followed by Nissan Nismo and Sims Motorsport Nissan, who look to not continue their tradition of beating their powertrain suppliers in the season. They've got Braun Honda GP, Aurelio Pinnacle, and Mercedes EQ. We'll see you guys next time then, when the Formula E Monopoly Championship returns.